Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, aka Daniel Kuhn. um, Here a new video, 400 years and a choice. My thoughts on these are my thoughts on basically what I guess what Kanye West had said recently. Um, I haven't done a video like this in a good while. Before I get into that, I want to say that the Machete project is going along pretty well. I just did some. I filmed a little bit of some of the work I've done. I'm actually looking at the machete right now. It's clamped in my vise, and I got a few more things to do to it, but I didn't want to put out. I wanted to do like a series, basically showing kind of step by step some of the things I've been doing to it, and so expect some more footage on that shortly. But in this video, it's basically talking about I'm just gonna share my thoughts on what Kanye West had said. Now, let me put this out there. I don't really care that much for Kanye West. He's he is who he is, and I try to put too much stock in what him or other like-minded celebrities have to say about certain issues. I do pay attention because to outright just not pay attention to what any of them say is I think you miss out on good intel in doing so. I guess it's more of a matter of whether you take a lot of things to heart. Like I say, you hear what someone like him or other people say, and you process it, and then you figure out in the end whether it's something that should be taken seriously or not. But he made a comment about um, slavery being 400 years of slavery being a choice, and a lot of people are upset about that. I saw a meme, where I guess it was like Jay-Z and his daughter were eating dinner, and she was saying, "Where's Uncle Kanye?" He said, "Tom. His name is Tom. His name is Tom now. Go ahead and finish it. Go ahead and finish your food." And I chuckled at it, but really it was about because I know what the term Uncle Tom. Well, I know what it is used for nowadays. It actually it does not hold any comparison to what it actually meant in the story Uncle Tom's Cabin, who who was basically a character who chose death to tell the location of some runaway slaves. And I think it's a very admirable act, and it's a shame that it's a term that's being used in such a way that ignores that. But 400 years of slavery being a choice, as insensitive as that sounds, at the end of the day, it is a choice that many have made um, while they were in bondage. It makes sense why I'm wearing the hat when I'm doing this video. It You gotta think about what was going through their minds while they were in slavery, and how some of them came in. And this is the thing, it really is a choice because there are those who said, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore, and they made the choice and left. They did something about it. Um, Now, can you fault those who decide to stay behind and remain slaves, remain to be in bondage? I think it's a hard thing. It's hard to say because how far it's like how far would you have gone to get yourself out of slavery? Many people would say that oh, I would have done this, that, and the other when until you're not until they you don't really know until you're put to that test, and they may not like the answer that they will receive if they were met in that they were met with such conditions. Even I've thought about it. Knowing myself, I guess if me being the person I am now, I'd probably I'm more likely to be a rabble rouser. I can't say for sure. I can't say for sure what I would do, but I know myself pretty. I know myself well enough to know. Um, I'm I like to stir things up from time to time, as you can tell. But there were those who made the decision. Some famously, known as some famous ones were Frederick Douglass. He escaped slavery. Um, Harriet Tubman, she escaped and led others, out of bondage. So uh, they're ones who made the decision to be free. I believe Sojourner Truth was she was also one who escaped. But yeah, they made the decision to become free, and they decided to share. At least we know in the case of Harriet Tubman, she decided to lead others who wanted to be free as well. And she said one of her biggest regrets was was her inability to convince those who were slaves that they were in slavery, that they were being enslaved. Meaning she couldn't talk some of them out. There were many things she couldn't talk out of that mindset. And that's another thing Kanye West has said. It was like, it's some kind of mindset you have to be in. You have to be a slave. You have to be a slave in your head to want to live in that. To want to live in those kind of conditions. And yes, he is right. To get mad at him for saying that, you'd have to get mad at Harriet Tubman for what she said, because even then she acknowledged that there were those who were slaves up here, and she couldn't convince them otherwise. That the conditions that they were living in was something that was not fit for any man on this earth. So, was it a choice? At the end of the day, yes, it was a choice. There are those who chose to stay behind, and like I said, I can't say anything. I can't say much about them because of where I'm sitting in an air conditioned room. You know, with a full stomach. And it's hard for me to say anything about those who made that choice. Unless I'm prepared to actually face that myself, and I can say what kind of choice I would make. Living through it. And there were those who chose to find another way out, and many of them, if they didn't kill themselves, as you know, that there are those who did jump ship during the Middle Passage. They'd rather feed themselves to wherever, they rather feed themselves to the Atlantic Ocean than to be slaves somewhere else. There were those who decided, I'm going to leave. I'm gonna leave this plantation. I'm gonna leave this area, and I'm gonna go elsewhere. I'm gonna go somewhere where I can be free. And they made a choice. And I think it's very important for people to even to think about that, because that says that if they can, if some, as I guess as as we may see it as being, if some uneducated individuals can make the choice to be free and find a way and do it, then what can we do for ourselves in nowadays, where we have all this information available to us? um, you know the we have all these resources available to us. What can we do? They had to start. They basically started from really they truly started from scratch. You know, fighting and clawing away for their freedom. What can we do for ourselves nowadays? And um, I think to throw insult to the idea that many of them were slaves in their mind, and which kept them in the physical slavery. I think throwing insult to that does ourselves a disservice, because we're saying that we couldn't be in that situation, and if we were in that situation, we will always find a way out of it. That's not the case. Many people can't find a way. Some people can't find a way out of their own current situations, and it pales in comparison to being being in forced servitude. So I think it's a humbling thing to consider, that there are those who made a choice to stay where they were, and there are those who made a choice to leave. But at the end of the day, they all made a choice. As we ourselves today make choices that do affect things down the road. And so, again, I'm not all that much of a fan. I'm not really a fan of Kanye West. You're not gonna see me buying Yeezys, but I will say he made a point. No matter what, disregarding the intentions behind his remarks, I'd say he made a remark that I would say is pretty thought provoking, and that many of them who over 400 years, many of those who remained a slave made the conscious decision to be a slave. Um, whether it be they saw the advantages of being in a life of servitude, or they were just ignorant as to what was in the outside world, and they didn't know anything else. Ultimately, they made a choice. And then there were those who made the choice to say, "Fuck this, I'm out of here," and and I think they should, and I think they should be acknowledged as well as doing something with their lives that with the risks that were associated with being on the run, because it was very risky leaving the plantation when you're considered property. It was very risky. It was very risky business. They they took a chance, and I think it's wise for us to acknowledge that we can make whenever we're faced with some type of insurmountable odd, we can take a chance and see where things goes from there. But that's my video. Tell me what you think. Do you think I'm just cooning, or do you see there being a point in thinking about this? Think about the comment that he made in such a way that actually says, well, maybe many of them actually made a choice to be slaves, and many of those and then there were those who made a choice to be free. I like to read your comments, like to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment section or make a video response. If you want to leave a donation to the channel, just go to my YouTube homepage, look for the Give Up That Cheese button, and you can make a donation to my PayPal account. I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. I hope you stick around long enough to look for more videos in the future, and please check out my older videos to see how the channel has progressed from like from 5 years ago to now. It's my phone ringing. Any gripes, complaints, send me a PM. I see if I can address them. But that's my video. 400 years and a choice. I'm Edward Jones, aka Daniel Kuhn. Thanks for watching. It's the Doom theme.